Hello and welcome to Bricks and Banner, the show with real talk from the custom LEGO community. I'm your host Billy, and today I'm also going to be my guest. No, I won't be interviewing myself, but I'm just going to be taking the time here, give a bit of an update on the podcast, and do a little bit of a Q&A. Truth be told, this episode is the result of my lack of planning, and I completely forgot that my next weekend is completely booked and I won't have the time to edit another episode with a different guest, so I'm here now recording my own. I've been wanting to experiment with a solo episode for a while now, and this is just the prime opportunity to do so. So let me know what you think if you enjoyed it. I'm not sure how long I'll be able to ramble in my closet for, but this is going to be a great, great test of that. It's about 1 a.m. I'm just sitting here in my closet sweating, and it's bound to be a good time. So yeah, I'm just going to dive in here. I got a bit of an update on the podcast, my other LEGO stuff. Going to do a bit of a Q&A. Pulled some questions on Instagram, as you might have seen. Maybe your question's in here, maybe it's not. Many of the questions were a bit surface level and didn't really lend themselves to a podcast format, so I weeded through and picked some of the more intellectually stimulating questions. That sounded really nice, and I'm going to keep that in, and it'll sound smart like I'm using big words. And me extrapolating like that and trying to joke around with myself as I sit in this closet is exactly what you can expect for hopefully 45 minutes. I don't know how long this is going to last. Anyways, I think that's enough of an introduction. You have no idea how many times I've restarted just these introduction bits to get me going, to start rambling on something. But let's just go right into it. One of the biggest changes you might have noticed with this episode is not only that my profile picture on my main account is different, with some updated new art, and the podcast logo has been updated along with it, and it has a new desk, background, all that jazz, just to match the aesthetic of my new main account profile image. I did that change for a few reasons. I wanted something new, fresh, something I could really call my own. The initial one that was created for me around, I don't even know, I guess probably around 2 years ago, or more actually, was some person out in Russia just created it at random based on a figure I'd posted on Flickr. And my buddy came across it. I wasn't even tagged in the photo or anything. And I mean, I love that profile picture so much. I hope people are going to be receptive to the change. As I'm recording this, it's a week before I actually switch that over. So I'm not sure how people are going to be responsive to it, but I love it, the new image. And yeah, it's just a sign of new and bigger and better things to come. I would have continued along with using the original profile picture because it's very iconic. It really has a place in my heart, but I couldn't really use it any longer in good conscience. The person gave me the consent to use it for my profile picture and everything, which was super kind of him, but even using it on my stickers and stuff was a bit of a stretch, and I just don't feel comfortable to basically just kind of steal his work for any other future business endeavors and stuff like that. I want to have something of my own that I can use as I want, have complete freedom and security in it, and it's actually going to bring me a lot more creative freedom in the ways I use my profile picture, because this one's a full body artwork. I have the PNG files of it all, and I can manipulate it in any which way I want. So, just going forward, it's the move I got to make. And I'm just hyped for it. I mean, it's a really excellent job. I commissioned my girlfriend to create it. She's super talented with digital drawing and art like that, and she's been bugging me to get it redone because of its, mysterious past and origins. So that's the move. So with the change of my actual normal profile picture, I obviously would need to update the Bricks and Banner logo cover image thing. And when I just dragged and dropped that one in, replacing the initial one, didn't really look right. So I started working around, and I realized I could also, try and legitimize the logo I was using. I used some weird neon text generator thing just off Google, and it gave me some disclaimer about like, oh yeah, if you're going to use it in your works, credit XYZ thing. Dude, I did none of that. Blatant disregard for the law, okay? But I don't want to be like that. So I hired my homie, Citizen Hoarder, to draw me up a new logo. Mike just knocked it out of the park. He killed it with this one. I'm super hyped about that. And again, now I have this high-res image that I have complete control and usage over, and expect a lot of new, cool, great things with that. I don't even know if I mean, I got like 5 different sticker orders on the way. I don't know if I've posted any of that, but one of the Patreon rewards is going to be some Bricks and Banners stickers with the new logo. They're super sick. I can't wait to get them. By this time the episode's out, those will definitely be posted, I imagine. Or, well, I guess it'll be in conjunction with this episode because the logo would not have been revealed at that point. Anyway, as whatever, that's how I'm rolling it out. It's whatever. I'm hoping to use that logo for a lot more things, especially for Patreon rewards. I'm looking to get a commission done of some torsos up with the logo. I'm really excited about that. I got to start digging through my boxes of parts and just finding torsos I can scrap and sand up, clean up, and send out to get printed on. So I was actually supposed to send an email about that earlier tonight, but forgot about it. What do you know? That's just the way it goes. Moving on, though, I can already tell this episode's going to be a train wreck. I've got like 6 minutes of content in this episode so far, and I've been in, what is that? 30 minutes. Awesome. This is off to a rough start here for me, but hopefully it'll all come together seamlessly on the other end. It's not going to be a fun time editing this one, but as long as it comes together cohesive in the end, what more could I ask for, really? So moving on to some other updates and just info about what's going on. I've come to the realization that I've been very inactive on posting actual figures, and that's just because I haven't been modding lately. I've been pretty consumed with engaging in the hobby and LEGO world in other ways through, obviously, the podcast, a bit with the YouTube. I want to be a lot more active on the YouTube than I actually currently am, but YouTube kind of plays into that, and also the Brick Nerd blog, which I'm involved with. I'm super excited about that opportunity to be posting content there. It just has such a far reach and could really expand the niche customizing hobby into, the minds of AFOLs and open them up to the possibility of customization. And I'm really excited about that. It's a bit of an intensive task along with obviously the podcast and stuff, but it's really exciting to work on. So I'm going to continue with that. This all kind of comes together that I'm kind of low on time to actually be modding, but I'm also feeling a bit uninspired to mod. So just, I'm still engaging, I'm enjoying, I'm loving the community. There's no reason I'm going to leave or anything. It's just, just using my time a bit differently as I engage. I finally have some ideas for some figures I want to make. I got 2 in the works right now. And by in the works, I mean they're in my mind and I eventually want to work on them. When will I? Probably not soon. But they're on the way. I got to order parts for one of them, and the other one I can probably work on if given the opportunity. I want to make a YouTube video dedicated to both of those, so that'll making the YouTube videos is a bit of a process. I mean, I have to wear the GoPro mount so that I can, achieve that angle. I like the angle of being in my point of view and getting to see kind of through my eyes as I mod. I think it's a unique take to all the YouTube content that I see out there, and it actually lends itself really well to tutorial stuff because you're able to just see very clearly what I'm working on. But with wearing the whole strap on my head and whatnot, it's not exactly uncomfortable, but it's just that small little step that I'm like, ugh, now I gotta put this on. But, once I'm over that, once I have the time and the inspiration and everything, it'll line up. I'm going to be no doubt making a YouTube video creating that stuff. And I'm excited for it. On top of all that, my school semester just started up again. It's kind of been mentioned through a couple episodes, but I'm in college. Specifically, I'm in college for welding. I'm actually in my last semester there. So I'm going to be moving on from that. I'm hoping to get this part-time job at a welding shop. Really excited about that. It would actually be a really great opportunity and foot in the door. But yeah, that's just other stuff that's taking up my time. Regardless, I'm not apologizing. This is a hobby. You get what you get out of me, but I do feel a bit of a commitment to keeping up with these things that I've set out to do, and I'm excited to continue creating them for you, so I hope you enjoy. And with that, I want to also just give you a little bit of an update, keep myself accountable, I think that's all the update sort of stuff out of the way. I started recording this at like 1:15, it's already 2, and you've only gotten like 8 minutes of footage out of this. This is real rough. We're having a hard time in the closet right now. A hard time? Oh boy. Poor choice of words there, but moving on, I'm kind of just going to do a quick little origin story of me in the community, how I got introduced to it all, because I'm realizing I highlight everyone else's, but mine kind of doesn't get revealed all too much. So I'm gonna just clear that up now. I got into Lego as a kid, obviously, how that goes. And then around 10 or so, Lego started really pushing their brand retail stores, and there was just a bunch of them that started to pop up. And my parents brought me around to the local ones as they were opening, and soon after we started moving around to some other ones in the area as well. And we caught wind of Brick Fair, Virginia. So my family, we made a family vacation out of it, and we went down to Brick Fair, Virginia in 2010. And ever since then, it's never been the same. I've always seen now, the grander scope of the hobby, and it's not just some people building with bricks, and there's a lot of people, and there's so many different aspects of it all. When I went there, that was really my main introduction to third-party stuff and customizing minifigures. I'd always loved minifigures at that point, but it was limited. There wasn't much combo potential with just some Lego stuff, and obviously I didn't know about modding or anything at that point. But I walked out of there with some Brickforge stuff and just was obsessed with it. I'd had the Halo armor, and I got the Centaur legs, dude. Those slapped. As a young kid, those were peak, bro. Anyways, just from there, I would go back. I never missed a year after that. I can't possibly thank my parents enough for supporting my hobby in such a way, and it's really the reason I'm here today in the capacity I am. Just being around for so long, and I'm just thrilled and constantly excited by everything that everyone creates. But yeah, that was my first introduction to the third party stuff, and as I just continue to go back year after year, it was just kind of sucking me deeper and deeper. And soon after, I was just deep in Brick Arms protos and trying to track those down and acquire the pieces that I would have missed and all that stuff. Obviously got involved with Flickr, and yeah, it just kind of went on from there. On Flickr, I don't know, it was hard for me to engage with people. I didn't really seek out interaction with anyone. I just posted my stuff, try to add it to groups, and if somebody commented and liked it, that was awesome. It was huge. And I just kept on trucking there, just posting it for the fun of it. I was going to be doing it anyway. I just wanted to put it out there, share it for other people who enjoy it as much as I do, just to see that, because I enjoyed seeing it what everyone else posted, and you kept going there. I made some friends. I got comments from people who are now just my buddies, my everyday casual people that I'll talk to on Instagram, and it's really mind blowing to have come so far, and I'm really blessed, man. I'm really thankful for everything this community's given me. It really means a lot, and yeah, I was on Flickr for a long time, and like I said just before, it was hard to engage with people there for me, and I feel like my real start in the community was once I got onto Instagram. And I honestly, I'd made an Instagram even earlier on, maybe around like 2016 or so. I don't know. I don't even know when my actual account started. Maybe I'm just totally whacking these numbers, but around a year or two before my current account existed, there was another one that I had started to post on but didn't really pursue, and maybe, I don't know, maybe things would be different if I had kept on going. But when I did finally start posting on Instagram, it was after some Brick Fair, Virginia, and that migration from Flickr to Instagram was starting, and everything changed after that, because it was so much easier and simpler to interact with other creators in the community and start these relationships with people that I just absolutely cherish. And if I'm going to keep it 100% honest, just growing up and how I kind of just operate on a day-to-day basis, I keep a very tight circle of friends in my real life and personal life. I'm not a party person or anything like that. I don't got 1,000 followers on my personal Instagram or anything. I don't even check my personal Instagram, bro. I don't use it. But I've sincerely made some of my best friends online over Lego. Like, I don't mean to say that like I don't want to come across like I'm some loader or something. Like, I interact with people. I have friends, and whatever. But it really says something when the people I'm really reaching out to and I'm talking to so much are my friends in the hobby and stuff like that. So, I want to just say, I love you all. You all are the best. Don't matter how much we've interacted in the past. You're a dope person. Thank you for being a part of the community and, being part of my journey in the community. I don't know if that really summarizes my start in the community or anything, but I'm starting to get emotional in here at, 2:18 in the closet. I had to take off my sweatshirt. I'm sweating. I don't know why I jumped into the closet with the sweatshirt on because I know I would be hot. Anyways, moving on. I think that covers that. I'd gotten a question through the Instagram, whatever feature to send questions. I don't know what it's called. I got a question from there that was saying if I ever considered quitting at one point. And there was quite a few years there on Flickr where I was relatively inactive. But what kept me coming back always was when I would go to Brick Fair, Virginia, it would totally just light the spark again. And yeah, I would just kind of go, that it was maybe for I don't know what actual year it was, but for 2 or 3 years there, it would be I go to Brick Fair, Virginia, have consistent inspiration and just overjoyed and love for the hobby for 6 months after. And then the 6 months leading up to Brick Fair, Virginia kind of died off, in building and all that stuff. And then maybe the month or so before I'd kind of get back into it. So I'd have small hiatuses, but I never really went through the quote unquote dark age, as they call it, where I kind of just disregard everything. And as you turn into a teenager or whatever and start chasing pussy and all that shit, I just kind of have always stuck with it, and it really does have to do with the community, though. I mean, that's really what always kept me coming back, and that's always kept me grounded in the hobby. So yeah, Lego means a lot to me. I think that's kind of the summary. I really love Lego, and I really love the community and everything it's given to me. So yeah, whatever. Not trying to get sappy here, but yeah, no homo, but I love you. Okay. So let's dig into some of these more structured questions here. I mean, I kind of segued there. It was a really clean segue. I hope you appreciated that. But moving on here, we had a question from 1C03. And it's something that I kind of considered in the past, too, so I want to really dive into it. Could a collab between builders building and modders making figures and stuff like that, could it work? Could we all just combine forces and assemble the Avengers or something into this massive collaboration? And I mean, I like to think so. I think if we had a common goal and a theme and genre that we were all super jazzed about, there's no reason it couldn't. At the last Brick Fair that occurred, there was a Rainbow Six collab that kind of came together. It didn't pan out into the fullness of what it could have been, but it aimed to do exactly that. It aimed to bring together some mock builders and some modders, and it accomplished that on a smaller scale than we were expecting, but it did that. And I think, especially for conventions, there's no reason that couldn't be. Going back to some of my Flickr stuff, one of the first super meaningful Flickr interactions I ever had was it's kind of related to this, and I caught the attention of Bricks Alive, aka Josiah, who is he's one of the nicest guys I've ever met in this community, and I miss him. He's since left. Last year, actually, at Brick Fair, Virginia, though, he popped his head in, and I got to see him again after quite a few years of him. I'm a more grown person now. He was interacting with this small, annoying-ass kid, and, he gave me the time of day, and he was just a really sweet guy. But he was seeing my combos and everything, and he said, hey, this Brick Fair, I don't know what it was, maybe 2015, we'll run with that. I don't know what year it was. He was like, hey, dude, I love your figures. I want you to, are you going to Brick Fair, Virginia? If you are, let me display some of them on my mock. I need some XYZ figures. And, that just meant so much to me. I mean, I look up to this guy's work, and he's reaching out to me to collaborate in such a way that was so amazing for me. And, yeah, I guess that really, I don't think about it much, but that really spawned my relationship with him. And he used to hang out a lot with Victor, aka Eclipse Graphics, at his table. So I spent a lot of time there because I also knew Victor as well. And yeah, he was a huge inspiration. He got me in the early days into sculpting, which I never really pursued to its fullest. I tried hard, but I was never a good sculptor. Not that I couldn't be now or anything, but it was just, I don't know, I wasn't passionate about it. I didn't spend a lot of time working on it and honing in my skills. I could have gotten into painting at that point because he was also dabbled in painting and would have taught me a thing or two, but I don't know. I didn't engage with the customizing all too much. Actually, in my mind, I think that I didn't start modding until I joined Instagram, but I realized there was a lot more mods on my Flickr than I really thought. I knew I'd made one super early, but there's a consistent amount of mods from those really old days, and I don't give them I don't give it enough credit that I've been kind of modding for a minute. Granted, they were all trash, but I'm hoping one day to actually revisit my first mod ever. I have all the parts lined up for it, and I've been thinking about doing it for a long time, but one day that'll come to be. Actually, I was thinking about it just again because of my episode with Sam last week. And by last week, I mean 2 nights ago, as I'm recording this. But he was talking about how he's, done a redux on some of his figures and, taken their assets but modernized them to his style and his abilities now. And I would love to do that, and I've been wanting to do that for a while. So maybe that'll be another project I do in the future soon. But I mean, I guess back to the main question here. Sure, there's no reason builders and modders couldn't come together on some sort of project. It's just about, the coordination and finding a common goal that everyone's excited about to follow through. It's hard to find a common goal like that, but it's certainly possible. On the low, I mean, so an idea I've been tossing around a lot in my head is to make another great collaboration for figure builders, something reminiscent of stuff that you might have seen during Flickr, with those huge expansive storylines where multiple creators are just coming together and making stuff. So maybe one day when that comes to fruition, it'll include builders as well. I don't know. I don't got a plan for it at all. So maybe I want to revitalize that. There was such a huge energy and just passion behind those projects back in the day on Flickr, and I'd love to see that again. I'd love to see stuff like that shine. So yeah, I mean, in summary, if you've got an idea, pursue it, dude. Get the modders involved, get the builders involved, make it a thing, make it happen. There's no, at the end of the day, what's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to have some fun with your friends and make a project, or maybe you don't even make a project, but you get to bullshit in a chat with each other for a couple hours and you have a good time. There's no loss here, just have fun, do what you want to do. And if you don't want to do it, then don't do it. It's that simple. I can kind of fall victim to this in a way, and I mean, it's more so put on by myself because of, say, the podcast and stuff. But I don't I can't say I don't understand it because I absolutely do understand it, but I don't think people should be so concerned with this idea of content creation or like I have to be posting XYZ thing or I have to say so active. I don't concern yourself with that. I mean, it's a hobby ultimately, man. Just have fun. Enjoy what you're enjoying, do what you want to do. You don't have to make a story post asking like, oh, should I make XYZ thing? It's perfect. It's a perfect way to gauge interest of or get new ideas, but don't dictate what you're gonna create just off that. Like, if you're not passionate about what gets voted, who cares? Make the thing you want. So what if it gets only 5 likes, You're the one who was able to pour in and create that figure or that build or whatever it was, and you got the enjoyment out of that process. So, I mean, who cares what happens after that? You've already gotten your reward, Just getting a couple likes or a comment, I mean, that's just a bonus, That's a bonus right there. So yeah, don't bog yourself down unnecessarily on something that's just supposed to be a lighthearted, fun escape for you, We're not these big celebrity YouTubers or anything or some Instagram influencer or whatever. There's no expectations on us. We're all just kicking back, having fun, enjoying these plastic bricks. Be as engaged or disengaged as you want to be. There's no pressure either way. Anyway, that was just a small tangent there. I mean, this whole episode's a large tangent, but I just see that come up a lot. And not that it bugs me exactly. I can completely see where that comes from because I've fallen into it in the past, and to a smaller extent I fall into it now, but I'm more intentional in what it is, and it's more of me setting a challenge for myself to be active and engage in the ways I am, and not necessarily an obligation that I feel to do so. Man, I'm hitting the point in recording this podcast where I realize how much I hate talking about myself because not that it comes across egotistical, but I just get super critical of it in my own mind, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to come across that way or something like that. But I mean, moving on, let's get even more egotistical and double down. This was a common question, and again, it kind of doesn't lend itself to a podcast or just audio format, but you could look through it in the wrap-up slides. But the question is, what is my favorite mod? And additionally, there was a question about which was the most difficult mod for me to make, and they happen to be both the same. And that would be my AK from Metro Exodus. It was a real challenge creating the grip specifically to skeletonize it. I had to use this really thin material drilled into the receiver, kind of just snaked it through, and then I clipped off the original handguard, just used the initial handguard there in the center, and I filed down the sides so that it would kind of fit into the material I had wrapped around for the skeletonized bit. That was a real pain. I mean, actually, honestly, I'm looking at this mod, and, in hindsight, I mean, I could probably do it now with a lot more ease, but at the time, that was really pushing it for me. And so next I have the exposed dust cover, with just, you just see in the spring there. Again, that wasn't all too difficult. Guitar string wire from my boy Detroit. He hit me up with that at one of the brick fairs, and it was sitting in my drawer for a minute, and it finally came into use there, and there's nothing else that could have been better for that. Then there's that front end. That was man, I can't even remember what I did for that. I cut up the handguard a bit, and then I believe I just put a filler material in and had it attached to the front sight. Yeah, I mean, I guess not all too complex. I'm realizing now my most complex mod was probably the ray gun, which is kind of trash. It failed due to its scale, but overall, I mean, that was a super intensive mod. Actually, yeah, I guess that's well, alright. This whole segment was a waste because now I'm completely changing up my story. So, favorite mods, the Metro AK. Oh man, but there's the Car 90. Oh, shoot. Man. Okay. I don't know what my favorite mod is anymore. Alright, favorite mod. It's either. Oh, and there's the Glock Fade. I mean, that's super simple though. Oh gosh, I'm scrolling. Oh, and the swords. Dude. Oh, okay. Well, totally scrapping my initial answer here now. Favorite mod. I don't know. It's up in the air. Could be the Car 98. Could be my Glock Fade. It's probably the Metro AK. It's probably still the Metro AK, just because, I mean, what? It's a Metro AK. Come on. Also, the dust cover bit is super reminiscent of this mod that Pincer Commander had made a long time ago, and he showed me it at a convention, and, I mean, it's still ingrained in my mind to this day. I had never seen a mod that I loved so much. It was a formative memory. I mean, just seeing that mod at the time, I wasn't, as experienced modding, and that was a huge inspiration. But yeah, so I guess Metro AK, maybe not as tough as I'm really thinking it was. The ray gun, definitely as tough as I remember it to be. At this point, I don't even remember what parts I put into that. It's intense. There's I believe 14 different components that I ended up jumbling together there. I wish I could just when you're editing a photo on the computer and you could just kind of drag it from the side and scrunch it up. I wish I could do that to the ray gun and just make it a tad bit smaller. Just click on the side and just smooth it in a little bit towards the center, because then it would be perfectly scaled, but it is what it is. For the time, that was the best I could do. But yeah, I believe the ray gun is probably the most difficult mod I've made. There's also the chain gun, but nah, I mean, it was just kind of tedious to have to drill through all of them. That wasn't all too difficult. I'm looking through again. Oh man, and the California compliant mod, that was kind of a pain. So instead of going the easy route on the California compliant rifle, I decided to loop the wire for the stock all the way through the handguard as well. I could have gotten away with doing things way easier, but I think I chose to do it that way because of the sturdiness. So I mean, there's a benefit there. Not like I keep taking it on and off of hands because I haven't touched that mod or even looked at it in months. But, that is what it is. My alt mod, I guess, was kind of extensive. It took a bit to brainstorm how to do it, but in the end, I'm not all too happy with its appearance, so I don't even want to talk about it. So we're just going to leave it at that. Damn, looking through my page, there's some mods I kind of forgot existed. Alright, well, I guess that's that. I hope that answers your question. moving on, we have a quick question concerning the podcast here. Will I ever have people who build on the podcast? Absolutely, I'd love to. This is a good chance to kind of just talk about my goals for the podcast and such. I don't intend it to forever be just this podcast about strictly modding or strictly minifigure customization. I'm just starting there because that's what I know. That's what I love. That'll always be the heart of it because I came into this podcast just wanting to make something for me and my friends to listen to as we mod, and that's it. It's just me and my friends bullshitting so that we can listen to it again as we mod and work on Lego stuff. But I'd absolutely want to reach out to more people who I don't know and, make their acquaintance and start talking to them on the podcast. I'm really trying to learn this medium, being able to talk and interview and all this. It comes with a whole host of skills that I'm trying to master now, and it's really exciting though. I have some big guests that I want to get on, and I think they're achievable. So soon enough you could really expect to see guests outside the ordinary that aren't just my typical buddies. So I'm looking forward to that. If you have a specific builder in mind that you'd want to have me interview on the podcast and just, have a conversation with, send them my way and I'll definitely consider that. I'd have to definitely put a lot of thought into conversing with a builder because, I'm obviously aware of what goes on in that kind of world, but to formulate questions and stuff about that, it'll take some thought. I'm not often engaged in the building side of things. Next up, I don't know if this is going to be my last question here, maybe for the night, and I'll have to come back and answer some more tomorrow, but it's 2:45 and I started it at 1:15 and I only have 37 minutes of, recording it saying because I keep stopping and cutting and, yeah. Anyways, this one comes straight from my homie Alex. Do I have a time management plan for my YouTube, podcasting, modding, etc.? No, I am flying by the seat of my pants, bro. It is just as I go. To maintain any sort of efficiency, I of course have to have just a little bit of planning to be like, oh, well, this has to be done by XYZ time. But no, I need a better schedule. I need a better schedule for a lot of things. And I'm working towards that. As I get, more in the groove with creating this stuff, it'll come. As things have been going right now, the podcast kind of gets recorded not Thursday nights actually anymore, but Friday nights or Saturday nights, and then I edit it on Sunday. Sunday has been my editing day pretty much consistently since the podcast started. Well, since I started editing the podcasts. The first couple of episodes, I literally just dragged and dropped straight from the recording software right into the site I'm using to host my podcast. Considering that, they're pretty good. And the editing I do now is quite minimal, but it's time consuming to have to sift through it all, and yeah, I'm streamlining the process as much as I can. It only takes me about a little over double the length of the podcast to edit it nowadays, so that's not all too bad. But yeah, I just go through, kind of take out any unnecessary pauses, clarify things, cut where's necessary, make me and the guests sound really smart, and that's the goal of trying to edit them. I also record the intro and outro after the episode's been completed, so I cut those in during the editing phase. So, before we wrap up this episode, I went over on Patreon and asked the patrons if they had any questions for me, so let's run on through them. First up here, and this ties back to, my bit of an origin story and everything, Jay Bricks asks, how was my experience working for Victor? So, for those of you who don't know, I had a brief internship with Victor that started, I believe, after 2015's Brick Fair, Virginia. At that point, I had known Victor for a few years, and we actually met, not really related to customs or anything. We're at a convention. He was a member of iLug NY, and I met him just as an AFOL as he was volunteering for the Lego store openings and stuff like that. He introduced us briefly into what the lugs were and all that stuff, and at the time, I couldn't join it myself, but he roped my dad into joining so that I could kind of reap the benefits of it secondhand. And then the funniest thing after that was that we never saw him again at the lug meetings because he was just too busy to come. But yeah, we were in a close proximity. I was in New York, he was out in Long Island. So after a while of seeing him and then actually going to a convention and be like, oh wow, you do this whole thing, you have a business and you do all this custom stuff. That's crazy, But I wasn't even a fan of Eclipse graphics or anything at that point. I was just like, oh, this is Vic. That's, the guy from My Lug and Hawaii, like that, we're buddies with, right? And then, just keep traveling around to some conventions, see him more often, help him out behind the booth, start getting into more custom Lego stuff and minifigs, and my relationship with him just went from there. So then around, like I was saying, 2015 Brick Fair, I think it was 2015. I'm not really sure. That seems about right. We were just at Virginia, I was helping him behind the booth, doing whatnot. And he was just like, hey, I mean, I know you're in New York and I could use a hand just working on products and putting stuff together. And I was like, well, I'll be there. I'll see you next week. And I mean, I went home from Brick Fair, Virginia, and then I was out there in the next week or two. And I was going about once or twice every week to help them work on the products, give ideas, assemble torso, stuff like that. And I mean, it was like a really great time and experience, and I thank them a lot for it. Overall, I mean, I have a little bit of PTSD whenever I have to go and sand like a bunch of torsos, or there's like a bunch of hands to take off. Like my fingers just, I could still feel those calluses, but yeah, I think that's it. I'm really thankful for the experience I had there. It was a great time, and I mean, it ended because they ended up moving to Georgia, so just it wasn't feasible to commute to them every day, But I stay in touch with Victor and try and help when I can, doing, behind the scenes stuff or giving opinions. So yeah, in summary, Vic's the best. Him and his family are just the most wholesome, genuine people, and can't say that for many custom brands out there. So if my money's gonna go to something, I'd rather go to them. Now, the next question here is a bit philosophical, if you ask me. Comes right from Dash Bricks. Would I rather fight one Josh Sipple-sized Parker or 5 Parker-sized Josh Sipples? All right, so hear me out. After much consideration, it's very clear that Josh Sipple he's an absolute unit. He would beat my ass, no doubt. Okay, Parker, not so much. Not so much at all. I will in fact whip his ass. So I think no matter the size of the Josh Sipple, you're gonna have your hands full, and one huge one, a bunch of small ones. No matter what, you can't take the Josh Sipple. So I'm just gonna have to go with a Josh Sipple-sized Parker because Parker, no matter the size or scale, he's still gonna be a weak boy, and I will take those spring breakers from him one way or another. Oh, so what? You got this fancy set. Ooh, guess what? It's missing the pink ski mask. Get out of my face with your flex, okay? I get it. So, final question here. Honestly, the most important question of them all, and if I leave you with anything, I hope it's the answer to this, and it's comes straight from Justin. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? And quite honestly, I don't know. And this question's plagued me since a young child, and I mean, I really need closure on it, so I'm reaching out to you. If you or a loved one has ever woodchucked, please let me know how much a woodchuck would chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood. and that's that, I guess. I can't really think of a much better way to wrap up the episode, but I have one final announcement here, and that's about the new Bricks and Banter stickers. If you're interested in grabbing one, they're going to be exclusive to Patreon, and you can get them as soon as you see this episode, really. If you become either a new $5 tier patron, or you're already a $5 tier patron, you're going to be receiving those soon in the mail. Probably, I think it's going to be in the next month that you'll receive them. I'm personally shipping them out, but the way Patreon works and the payment and stuff, I'll be doing it once the month's over. If you're looking to grab them, you might want to do it fast. I only created about 50, and they're part of a special promotion through Patreon, so it's only going to last a month that you can grab those. Afterwards, if there is any remaining, I'm not sure how I'll distribute them, if at all. I mean, maybe it'll be like a giveaway thing, but that's about it. I got these made to help support the podcast, so any of the funds raised are going directly towards that, and if you're signing up at the $5 tier, you're also going to be able to access my exclusive episode with Artifice12, aka Ferg, and I plan to have a lot more exclusive content like that in the future as a thank you, so stay tuned. And would you look at that, I managed to make it close to the 40-minute mark. I'm surprised. I'm amazed at myself. I hope I didn't annoy you, and I'm actually sorry that you had to listen to my voice this long. If you enjoyed this for some reason, let me know. It was fun. It was a different challenge being stuck with myself to record, but I appreciate being able to elaborate on these topics that I might not get the opportunity to with a guest. So let me know if you want to see something like this in the future. If I do it again, it'll be way down the road, so no worries there. If you enjoyed the podcast, please leave a review on iTunes or share it with a friend. It means a lot and it really helps support the podcast. Next up, I want to thank all the patrons, of course. You guys are what keeps the show afloat, and I cannot thank you guys enough. We finally hit 10 patrons, which is absolutely mind-blowing. I'm really honored by your guys' support. We have Seth, Luger Enthusiast, Tupolev, Mike, Justin, Francisco, Dashbricks, Jbricks, and PK Custom Lego. Thank you guys so much. If you are interested in becoming a patron, you can find it linked in our Instagram bio. Again, thank you all for listening. I hope you enjoyed. Come back next week as I talk with M Soccer 2, aka Mason.